It's going.
Got it.
Okay, this is for family and friends who are not able to see the live performance. So I'm gonna do my presentation for you guys. So I hope you enjoy. And yeah, so I'm gonna talk to you guys about my sea turtle and conservation internship in Costa Rica. Oh goodness. Okay. So a quick introduction. So sea turtles live in almost every ocean throughout the world and nest on tropic and subtropic oceans. Juveniles tend to spend their first few years in the open ocean and move into protected basins and nearshore waters as adults. I have some photos here. So we have the green sea turtle, the leatherback, the hawksbill, and the olive ridley. Currently, 6 of the total 7 species of sea turtle are classified as threatened or endangered due to various threats. When it comes to nesting, it is quite the production. So the female will return to a nesting beach and shimmy her way up to the beach close to the vegetation. She will then start to dig her body chamber. From here, they dig their egg chamber using their back 2 fins. Once the female has deemed her egg chamber as good enough, she will begin to lay her eggs. Once she is finished, the female will then start to cover up or camouflage the nest by throwing a ton of sand around. Females typically will lay between 4 to 6 clutches per season at about 10 to 15-day intervals. Their percentage of success for hatchlings can be anywhere from 50% to 75%, but this also varies on their geographic location. Tortuguero is named after its most important inhabitants, the sea turtles. The Costa Rican legislature declared Tortuguero National Park in order to protect the nesting turtles, beaches, and the adjacent terrestrial habitats. Within this park, there is about 47,000 acres of land protected, along with 22 miles of nesting beach. Specific to this park, the turtles from this population dispersed throughout the greater Caribbean, which was indicated by recaptures of adult females tagged in Tortuguero. There is an increased need for more monitoring within these parks in order to outweigh the effects of threats on these species of turtle. Poaching is one of the biggest threats to sea turtles within Tortuguero National Park. The local communities live in poverty and it's very hard to find jobs. This is a problem of great concern, and although hunting within national park boundaries is illegal, such activity is hard to monitor and enforce with limited funds. Along with poaching, there are also nest predators. In the park, some nest predators include vultures, raccoons, crabs, and possums. These guys will go in when a female is nesting and eat the eggs when she's laying them. Another threat specific to Tortuguero is jaguars. The jags are opportunistic feeders and hunt the nesting females throughout the night. When there is a fresh kill, there are certain precautions that have to be taken. One of those things being that we can't go within a certain amount of miles of that kill because jags do tend to do 1 or more kills in a night. The Sea Turtle Conservancy has worked for the conservation of endangered sea turtles in Costa Rica since 1959. For about 50 years, the STC has conducted annual turtle nest monitoring studies on the beach in Tortuguero Park. The STC has collaborated with Global Vision International. GVI operates a small research station at the southern limit of Tortuguero National Park. GVI staff and volunteers contribute to the ongoing research and monitoring programs. Through this partnership with GVI, STC is able to further promote the research and protection of threatened sea turtles in this region. GVI's mission statement. It is our mission to build a global network of people united by their passion to make a difference. GVI has a conservation base in Jaloba, which is completely surrounded by rainforest and beaches. The volunteer and internship programs run throughout the year, with sea turtle conservation being specific from May to September. So why did I choose GVI? There's a few number of reasons for this. The first one being to explore a new location that I have not been to yet. And in this case, I traveled to Costa Rica on my own during a pandemic. Another reason was to have the chance to work so closely with sea turtles. I also enjoy that GVI has a direct partnership with the Sea Turtle Conservancy. And lastly, I was able to meet some pretty cool people along the way with the same interest in marine conservation. So for this internship, there's a few objectives. One of those being sea turtle survey work on the beach with nest checks and night patrols. collecting sea turtle data and inputting it into their computers, and leading sea turtle surveys and being an assistant in training new volunteers. So we were in Costa Rica on the northeastern side along the Caribbean Ocean. And here we were within the park, and that little pinpoint at the bottom there is where our base was. And that tan line is the beach that we monitored. So for nest check and night patrols, we would have to wake up at the crack of dawn in order to perform nest checks. Both nest checks and night patrols were done on a 3.5-kilometer stretch of beach. While walking the beach, a sea turtle track survey was also done, which was used to distinguish the tracks. The nests that were checked during early morning hours were distinguished as old or new. We also collected data with the state and position of the nest as well as their depth. After a nest had hatched overnight, we would perform excavations. The data collected from these had included the number of eggs hatched, eggs with no yolk, and eggs with fully developed embryos that never hatched. The data that we found here would be brought back to base, and we'd be able to hash out the hatchling success rate. Typically leaving around 9 p.m., we would walk the beach during wee hours of the night to do night patrols. We measured the female sea turtle and conducted body checks, also checking how many eggs were laid and marking that nest. I was also trained in data collection and entry into GVI's computers. I would spend a few minutes a day just updating data sheets and making templates for the field. Considering we were out in the middle of the jungle, that does come with its mistakes, so I'd also check for any discrepancies that came. This data that was collected and input into the computers was then taken to the STC about twice a month. Eventually, I advanced to taking the lead on sea turtle surveys and by doing nest checks and night patrols. I would say this is probably the hardest and most stressful part of my internship because there's a lot I had to do, meaning time management, knowledge of survey techniques, checking out the equipment, delegating tasks, following risk assessments in case of emergencies, answering any questions anybody had, and entering data upon arrival. This internship familiarized me with the equipment used on surveys, and I gained proficiency in measuring and checking the body of the sea turtles. I gained experience in training other volunteers and helping with questions that may have arisen. Overall, I'd find that I'm more physically and mentally prepared to be out in the field participating in a job similar to this one. The work that we did here is pretty important because it leads to further outreach and education of the topic on nesting female sea turtles and how to protect their nests. With more education, then comes more protection of the species. I would like to acknowledge the following people, as well as family and friends who have supported me throughout my journey in college. And to leave it off, big smiles and even bigger hopes for a future that is cleaner and greener than before. Any questions? You can email me or call me. Thank you so much. I love everybody dearly. And yes.